In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the WHOIS command to look up IP address and domain name information. And this information can be contact information for whoever registered the domain name, and it can even be hosting information. So let's go ahead and hop on into the tutorial. If you're on a Mac or a Linux computer, you're already going to have the WHOIS command installed and you can access it via terminal. If you're on Windows, you're going to use the command prompt, but this is not installed by default. Stick around to the end of the video if you want to learn how to install WHOIS on Windows. But otherwise, let's go ahead and proceed. So like I said, we have the WHOIS command installed and you can see how to use it here. We're going to do our first example with whoisgoogle.com. So it's just WHOIS and then the name of a domain name. So hit enter and it's going to spit out a lot of information. Definitely overwhelming at first, but let me walk you through it. So every single .com domain name that you look up is going to start with this section. It's just generic information for anybody who has a .com. So every .com goes through VeriSign. That is the company who manages .com domain names. So if you register a .com domain, it's going to go through VeriSign at some point. So not the most interesting stuff at the top. Maybe something that's interesting is that the first .coms were created in 1985. Okay, so the next section is more along the lines of what we're interested in. So specifically the domain name google.com. Has some information here. So that was first registered on September 15th, 1997. And they have the domain name registered until 2028. So they're well out there. And that's like 8 years into the future, 6 to 8 years into the future. They registered with, their registrar is Mark Monitor Incorporated, okay? They have a little bit of contact information in here, but it seems they have a lot of that information hidden from the public view. Here's some name servers, and that's about all the interesting stuff. So that was a WHOIS from VeriSign. There's also a WHOIS from Mark Monitor, their registrar. So you see some redundant information. So google.com, the same creation date, updated date, the expiration date, and then the same type of contact information, and the name servers as well. So they do have a little bit more public information that they're out of California. The organization's called Google LLC, but that's about it for Google. Let's try another example. I'm going to pull up another terminal window here just to show you how these two compare to each other. So where were we? WHOIS. So WHOIS, we'll try WHOIS TonyTeaches.tech. Okay, so this is a different domain ending, so we're not going to see a .com at the top. We're going to see a .tech. So all .tech domain names are registered through Radix, okay, and they're out of Mumbai, India. And that came into existence. The .tech domain name first came into existence in 2015. So cool, but not what we're here to look at. So let's look at TonyTeaches.tech. So that is my website if you haven't figured that out. I registered that on January 19th of 2020. I registered it with Google, so Google Domains. Here is my name servers. They're all Google domain name servers. And I have some privacy protection, so you can't see any of my contact information. That is here. Here's the whoisgoogle.com. This is my registrar. This is the information for my privacy protection. The only kind of public information that is exposed, which it really isn't much, is this registrant email. So it's not my email. It just takes you to a contact form, and let me show you what that looks like. So I'm going to go here, open that up, and if you did want to get in touch with me, you can type the domain name in, and it already pre-filled it for you. Confirm that you're not a robot, submit, and then it's going to give you a contact form that will, actually it's not going to give you a contact form, I'm sorry, it's going to give you an email address, a hidden email address, a disguised email address, but this will actually end up in my email box. So you can, some people have their information public, some of them have contact forms, some of them have private email addresses like this, just so that your public information isn't sitting out there on the internet. So that's what that looks like. Anything else interesting in here? Not really. What is interesting though, I got my domain name from Google Domains, as you can tell here, but what about my website? Where is my website hosted? Well, there is a way you can sometimes figure this out. So for a particular website or a particular domain name, let's go ahead and ping it. Use the ping command. So if we ping TonyTeaches.tech, That's going to give us back the IP address associated with the web hosting for that domain name. So now we can use the WHOIS command to look up that IP address. It doesn't have to be a domain name, it can be an IP address as well. So let's see what's going on at 194.1.147. What was the other 147.33. Okay, so that shows us let's see, the organization that I guess owns that IP address is Ripe NCC. K Media Tech. Okay, we're getting on to something here. And there it is, WPX Hosting. WPX Hosting is my hosting company. That's who I use to host my website. And they are out of Sofia, Bulgaria. Okay, so that's where my website is hosted. We can try this for another website, right? So we can do WHOIS networkchuck.com. And he has a .com, so you see that same exact VeriSign information at the top. And he registered his domain name in 2016 from GoDaddy. So he used GoDaddy to register his domain, but that doesn't necessarily mean that his website is hosted with GoDaddy. So we can try a similar technique. We can do ping networkchuck.com. That'll give us back the IP address of his web hosting. And then we can do WHOIS this IP address. And we'll see information from Cloudflare. So Cloudflare is like it's a CDN, a content delivery network. So that doesn't necessarily mean his website is hosted from that. That just means that some of his assets are there. But it could be the case that he's hosting directly with Cloudflare. So yeah, I think now I'll show you how to install the WHOIS command on Windows, so check that out next. As you can see here, the WHOIS command is not installed on this Windows computer, but we can install it by going to this Microsoft URL and downloading this WHOIS zip file. And we can go ahead and extract that zip file. And then what you're going to want to do is copy the path to the folder that it was extracted to, open up a command prompt window, cd into that directory, and now you can execute the WHOIS command for any domain name or IP address that you desire.